Okay, we'll close this morning with a model that inspires admiration all across Europe. Is the Norwegian model. Norway ranked first in the world in the Press Freedom Index, combining supporting policies, pluralism, and professionalism. Solveig Husøy from the Norwegian Association of Editors is here to tell us about it. Welcome, Solveig.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. Norway is, according to Reporters Without Borders, we are the world champion of press freedom. And in the Nordics, we are taught well not to brag. So I think I should apologize up front for being perhaps a bit immodest. But I will talk to you about some of the unique features that helps press freedom in my country. When I was growing up, Europe was still deeply marked by the consequences of World War II. I was afraid of Russian spies, I was afraid of nuclear war, and the Eastern Europe was a very mysterious and possibly evil place. But then things began to change, and we experienced this wave of hope. And I made friends in the Baltics, we visited East Berlin, I even learned Russian in school. I never imagined that I would one day witness the decline of democracies, not only in parts of Europe, but also in the United States. And I never thought I'd see press freedom under such pressure all over the world as it is today. Norway is now one of only 7 countries which is classified as having good conditions for a free press. And more than half of the world's population live in places where working as a journalist means risking your freedom, possibly your life. In the past decade alone, press freedom has deteriorated significantly in several European countries, most notably in Hungary, Greece, Poland, and Malta, but also in other countries that we have heard about earlier today. When we look at the global map, the picture is really dark, or should I say red. And the time to act is now. That's why I'm here today, I think, to talk about the Norwegian model and what we possibly have done right in the past 75 or so years, besides being lucky enough to find oil. More than 200 Norwegians were killed during World War II for their involvement in illegal newspapers. This is from the memorial, and I love the words on that memorial. Freedom and democracy are inseparably tied to a free press. We will always defend the free word. And 5 years of occupation and censorship made it painfully clear how important free media is to any functioning democracy. And before the war, we only had an organization for the media owners. But in the 5 years following the war, both journalists and editors formed their own professional organizations. And the Editors Association went on to play a key role in building a framework for media freedom in Norway. In 1953, editors and media owners signed what we called the Declaration of Editorial Independence, or the rights and duties of the editor. And this agreement is truly unique. As far as we know, there's nothing quite like it anywhere else in the world. And we have translated it into English and a couple of other languages if you are interested. And in signing this, media owners gave up significant power. They committed to giving editors full editorial freedom within the boundaries of basic values, mission, and budget. And this wasn't just a symbolic gesture. The agreement has been renewed several times since, most recently in 2019. This is from the signing of that document. And it's not just words on paper. It's actively used, and you have to commit to them to become a member of the press organizations. Of course, we must stay conscious of these principles. And we know from our service that 15% of our members have experienced interference from owners. And several times a year, editors reach out to us for advice or support in dealing with their owners. But the important point is this. At the fundamental level, there is broad agreement on these principles. There is no real dispute about them. They are shared values. And in fact, some of Norway's biggest media owners have recently conducted internal reviews on how editors experience pressure from owners. And as a result, they've strengthened their onboarding and training programs for owner representatives. And we've also seen cases where board chairs have had to step down because they violated the principles of editorial independence. Like in this case, it's in Norwegian, so I know you don't understand, most of you, but the board chair, the man, tried to influence which stories the editor should prioritize. And as a result of that, he had to step down. And in 2009, these principles were written into Norwegian law. The publisher, owner, or other members of company management may not instruct or overrule the editor in editorial matters, nor may they demand access to content before it is made publicly available. In Norway, no Jeff Bezos can tell an opinion editor not to recommend a presidential candidate. That simply wouldn't happen. And the Norwegian Media Liability Act is heavily inspired by our Declaration of Editorial Independence. It gives the editor freedom, but also full responsibility. Editors are personally accountable for everything that is published, also legally. But in return, they have the freedom to decide. And when this law was passed, Norwegian politicians saw it as an important safeguard for editorial independence and the protection against disinformation and a way to defend democratic values. For decades, there has been broad political consensus in Norway that an open and transparent society with a wide diversity of free media is absolutely essential to maintaining a well-functioning democracy. And it's easy to take those foundations for granted. But in recent months, we've seen just how quickly things can change. With the support of a majority of voters, the President of the United States has launched attacks on the free press, on science and the judiciary system in ways that have shocked us all. Even in Norway, this has sparked serious reflection. Are we doing enough to protect our democratic institutions? And that's why we're now working to enshrine editorial freedom in our constitution. By doing so, we can assure that these protections cannot simply be removed through quick political change in a single parliamentary term. Another essential part of the Norwegian model is that almost all editorial media in Norway have committed to following a common ethical code and to be part of a shared self-regulatory system. This commitment is also a requirement for becoming a member of our association, and it makes it easier to separate editorial media from influencers and other providers of information. Anyone who feels they've been treated unfairly by the media can file a complaint with the Press Complaints Commission on the picture here. And this commission consists of 2 editors, 2 journalists, and 3 members of the public. If a media outlet is found to have acted wrongly, the punishment is very simple. They must publish the Commission's ruling prominently and in connection with the original article. That's it. So you may think this has little effect, but in fact, both journalists and editors take this very seriously. It hurts to be judged for poor workmanship by your own colleagues. And knowing that you can be held accountable by the Commission keeps the media on their toes. And perhaps more importantly, it actually helps build public trust in the media in Norway. Ethical guidelines and press councils exist in other countries too. But in Norway, the strong support for ours across the entire media industry gives it real credibility. And the fact that the Press Council is completely independent of both the government and the judiciary system is also crucial. Because media ethics must be and should stay more a matter of judgment than strict legal rules. Everyone who's worked in a newsroom knows how important that is. Before I close, I have to say a few words about media economics. Because today, financial pressure is one of the biggest threats to press freedom in Europe. We are lucky in Norway. We have strong public support schemes that keep vital news outlets alive, ones that would never survive in a purely commercial market. That's one reason why we have only over 250 news organizations in a country of just 5.6 million people, and practically no news deserts. But even we are feeling the strain. More and more ad money is disappearing into the hands of global tech giants, companies that pay nothing back to society and produce no journalism. And now AI is threatening to break our business models altogether, allowing people to skim the surface of news without ever visiting the platforms that actually fund and produce it. The years ahead will be critical for journalism and for democracy. In Norway, we have built a culture of sharing and collaboration, even among competing media houses. And that openness makes us stronger, and it makes our journalism better. For instance, several Norwegian newsrooms, both national, regional, and local, are running a shared operation for fact-checking and verifying pictures and videos, mostly from Ukraine and Gaza. As you know, verifying live and still photos is increasingly difficult and expensive. This way, we make it affordable and we educate our journalists. Because in the end, our real competitors are not each other. We must stand together against all kinds of pressure. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Solveig. It was eye-opener and really inspiring. Thank you. We're all taking notes here. So, we're running a little bit late. We can take a couple of questions really quick. Like 1 minute question. Who wants to go first? I can start, by saying that after Solveig's presentation and questions, we'll be facing the end of this 41st CIRCOMRegional Annual Conference. After these 2 intense days of reflection, valuable insights, and inspiration, we'll have a lunch all together in the foyer after that. Okay, we have 2 questions for Solveig. How do Norwegian media organizations balance editorial independence with collaboration between the public and private sectors?
I'm not sure I understand the question completely, but
okay, we can move to the second one. Given the decline and threats to media and democracy, what actions are most urgently needed? We can go with that.
Yeah, I think standing together as a media industry is really important in the years to come, and I think a shared I don't find the words. I think we need to be collectively very aware of the small steps that in the end makes great difference to our media freedom. We see that in a lot of countries.
Okay, and last one, super quick. Which is the biggest threat to editorial freedom in Norway?
I think the biggest threat to editorial freedom in Norway will be the threats to our business models as it is today. Yeah.
Okay. Last one, can you send me the observers to our newsrooms? Okay. Was it you?
That's a big question.
That will be great. Okay, Solveig,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I think it's a great way to finish this Congress. Yeah.